What do a disco survival anthem, a classic jazz standard, and a famous Beatles song all have in common? It's not the decade they were written in, and it's not the artist or the genre. The secret is a simple, repeatable pattern in how their chords move. It's like a hidden blueprint that makes songs easier to understand and remember, because the song just flows. It gives songs that sense of forward momentum and logical structure. And that's what makes them so satisfying to learn and play. Have you ever found yourself getting stuck trying to memorize long, complex chord progressions? Have you ever wondered how the pros seem to learn songs almost instantly? It's not magic, and it's not a secret reserved for geniuses only. It's a technique. And once you see it, you'll start hearing it everywhere. And so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what this technique is, how it works, and how you can use it to learn your favorite songs faster and remember them more easily, no matter what style of music you're into. What is this pattern? It's all about consistent root movement. The root is the foundation of a chord. So, for example, the C in a C major chord, or the A in an A major chord. While the chord quality, major or minor, gives it emotional color, the movement of the root from one chord to the next is what creates the song's roadmap. It's the path that your ear follows. And the most powerful path in Western music is moving that root by a fourth. Picture all 12 musical notes arranged in a circle. If you start on any note, let's say C, and you move up a perfect fourth, you land on F. You move a fourth from F, you get B flat, and then E flat, and so on. And of course, we look at this as music theorists and we call that, that's the circle of fifths, because moving up a fourth is the same as moving down a fifth. Think of it as a harmonic superhighway. Each stop is closely related to the last, making the journey feel smooth, logical, and predictable. So why would this be so useful for learning songs? It's all about tension and release. A G chord has a strong gravitational pull towards C, and a C chord feels like it wants to go to F. When you learn to recognize these movements, you can anticipate where the song is going next. Rather than just memorizing chords one by one, it's a powerful tool for understanding musical flow. The best way to get this is to hear it. Let's start with a pop music masterpiece, I Will Survive. The verse progression is a perfect example of how this pattern works. So if you wanted to learn this song, instead of trying to memorize 8 different chords in order, you just recognize the pattern. It starts on A minor, and the root moves like this. It goes from A minor up a fourth to D minor, from D minor up a fourth to G major, from G major up a fourth to C major, and then from C major up a fourth to F major, or actually in the song it's F major 7. It's a perfect unbroken chain of fourths that creates powerful momentum. But then it does something clever. The progression continues to a diminished B chord, B diminished, then it goes to E major, and it returns to A minor. So those last couple of moves kind of break the pattern because we don't have a perfect fourth between F and B. And so the chords that we end up using create a little extra tension, and then the cycle starts over. And basically the whole song is that cycle repeated many times. So when you recognize that structure, a chain of fourths, and there's that little 2-chord turnaround, that makes it infinitely easier to remember and to learn how to play this song than just trying to memorize a random list of chords. Now, this just doesn't apply to disco, of course. Let's take a song that's a little bit more complex. Take the iconic opening to the song Light My Fire by The Doors. The keyboardist Ray Manzarek was heavily influenced by classical music. Now, on first hearing, that sounds pretty complex. But this progression is based on the same strong root movements of fourths and fifths. Once you know that, it starts to sound less intimidating. It sounds very sophisticated and timeless. It's taking us on a journey around that same harmonic highway. So if I just play the chords, for example, starts on G, then it goes to D, or kind of D7 if you put the melody in there. And now here's where the pattern begins. He's using an F chord, goes to B flat, goes to E flat, and goes to A flat, and then the pattern breaks because he goes from A flat to A. And then that leads us into the verse. Is this starting to click? Are you having an aha moment? Are you now thinking about how many songs you can learn more easily? Well, if that's the case, then do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, because I do this a lot in my videos here on At Home with Music. I want to give you the tools that will help you learn songs more quickly, more easily, and also help you remember them as well. This pattern isn't just for pop and rock. It's arguably the most important one for learning jazz, for learning how to play standards. Let's take a look at the standard Autumn Leaves. The whole thing looks rather complicated, but basically it's just a walk around the circle. In the key of E minor, the chords move from E minor to A minor 7th. So you see the root moves up a fourth, and then it goes up a fourth again. And there's a gravitational pull now to G. By the way, that's the classic 2-5-1 progression. And then it does it again. We start on C major 7th. And then we end up with this F sharp half diminished, which then goes to B7. And finally we come back to E minor. So there's that movement in fourths again. Once you see it as a series of these predictable blocks, well, you've cracked the code. Jazz musicians use these little segments of the circle as a common language. And I hope that now you can understand it too. There's a famous Beatles song from Abbey Road that uses this type of progression, this movement in the bass. Starts out with this A minor 7th chord. And you hear Paul McCartney singing, "Once There Was a Way." He sings it a lot better than I do. But then he goes, the bass moves up a fourth to D, and then up a fourth again to G, goes to C, and then from that point the pattern breaks. But you can see how the chord progression at the beginning of this beautiful song, it just draws you in. It feels right. It flows. Once you've seen this pattern in action, how can you use this to learn songs more quickly? How do you actually use this? And you don't necessarily have to get a degree in music theory. It's simpler than you think. You just have to start listening for it. So let's use the key of C major as our playground here. You have 7 basic chords in the key of C major, a triad built on every note of the scale. This is a bit of review for you probably. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. And we can arrange most of these chords using our pattern. Starting from A minor, you can follow the chain of fourths. From A up a fourth to D, and so you're listening for a move to D minor. From D up a fourth to G, listening for a move to G major. From G up a fourth is to C, And then from C up a fourth is to F. Doesn't this sound familiar? This is our I Will Survive progression. From F, the next diatonic chord in the cycle is B diminished. And so the jump from F to B is a tritone, gives it a unique, tense sound. And then from B, we could move to E minor. Or in the case of I Will Survive, they substitute E major, which leads us back to E minor. So now you have a map of the most likely chord changes. When you're learning a song in the key of C, listen for these movements. But here's the most important part. You'll almost never hear the whole chain. Pros, just grab a piece of it. The most common segment by far is the 2, 5, 1. That's our D minor, G, and C. It's the strongest, most satisfying signpost that you're returning to your home chord. Of course, it can be any key. Hearing that pattern is a dead giveaway for where the phrase is ending. You can also listen for when the pattern breaks. A song might follow the chain for 3 chords and then go somewhere unexpected. You remember the song by Cat Stevens called Wild World? Right there. That's when the chain breaks. It starts with A minor. I think it goes to D7. I'm remembering it by ear. But you can see the bass moving A, D, G, up a fourth each time, and then even further. Goes to F, and then he goes to D minor. So instead of going up a fourth, now the bass goes down a third, or you could say it goes up a major 6. It doesn't matter. Basically, the pattern breaks right there. And those moments that break the pattern are often the most memorable. And so train your ear to spot them. And that will be the key to helping you learn these songs more quickly. So, start listening. Try to find the key of the song. You may have to use the keyboard to do it, and that's fine. Listen to the root movement. Is it moving up by a fourth? See how long the song follows the pattern. Listen carefully for where the pattern breaks or changes to create surprise. And then use this knowledge to create a mental map of the song, instead of just memorizing a long list of chords. This pattern isn't a prison, it's a launch pad. It's a way to get unstuck from rote memorization and start hearing the logic and structure inside the music you love. The next time you're listening to a song that it feels right, where the chords seem to pull you forward on a journey, listen to the bass notes. Listen for that root movement. Chances are you'll hear it, that powerful, satisfying movement in a cycle of fourths or a circle of fifths. It's not some dusty academic rule. It's a living, breathing part of the music we love. And now, it's a tool that you can use. You have a new key to understanding the harmony of the songs you love, and you will learn them faster. So listen carefully to your favorite songs. Listen for the root movement and see if you can map out the journey. See where it takes you. If this video has helped you in any way, then give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more musical journeys like this one. I've got a question for you, by the way. What other songs can you think of that use this powerful root movement? Go ahead and put those in the comments section. I'd love to see what you find. Check out my other videos by clicking on the playlist link. It's here on the screen somewhere. Thanks for watching, and keep learning and playing. The music is in you.